Hello everyone. In this video we'll be going through the king's fianchetto opening. So from white the position opens with g3, which allows the bishop to be fianchettoed, the knight to be developed to f3, and the castling of the king and the rook. So the best response for black in this position is to play d5, which controls the two squares on c4 and e4. And now the best move from white is to develop the knight straight away with knight to f3, which controls the d4 and e5 squares, which are the dark squares, and prepares the bishop to be fianchettoed, which is also known as the King's Indian attack. So from here, black responds with knight to f6, which defends the pawn and also controls the white square on e4. Now the bishop is going to come out to g2, so it's been fianchettoed, and black responds with a c5, which develops this flank pawn, which creates an attack all through these squares. Now from here, white is going to play d3, which allows the moves of c4 and e4 to counterattack these control squares from black. Now the knight comes out to control the b4, d4 and e5 squares, and also to strengthen the center. Now the bishop is moved out to create an attack on these dark squares. Now the queen attacks this b2 square, which will eventually try to attack the rook on a1. So white is obviously going to play b3, which is controlled by the a1 and c1 pawn. And now the development of the h6 pawn allows the push of g5, which will affect the bishop's position. So the bishop will have to retreat, as it's currently very strong. So now white develops by castling and creates a strong king side. So from here, black plays the move of bishop to f4. However, the bishop completely goes back to its original square, as if it went to this square here, it would hamper the development of the queen. So instead, c1 is the better move. So then it can move to this b2 square and attack the knight, and then the rook will be pinned down. So now black further develops the center by playing e5, which controls the d4 and f4 squares. And now white challenges this with c4, which attacks the d5 pawn and asks for trade. Now black's light square bishop comes into the center to defend this pawn on d5, as the knight is currently defending, but if there was another attack, for an example, moving the knight away, then this bishop would be attacking this pawn, which would create a strong position from white. So now from here, white further attacks this same d5 square, and black attacks white's rook, which closes in the position, and the knight puts an attack on the queen, which forces the queen to move. And the best move for the queen in this position is c7, so to retreat while still having an eye on this center square. Now, white plays the promotion of e3, which will challenge the center, as it's currently quite closed for white, as this pawn cannot move, neither can this one, and this one is quite hopeless in this position. So black has a strong center with these pawns, however white can't really move, so challenging the center will unlock the position and allow white to develop even further in the center. So a6, which may allow the push of b5, which will create an attack on this knight. And now a3 is pushed to maybe create an attack on this b4 square. The knight retreats back to d7 and maybe shifts over to the other side of the board to challenge this knight on a4. Now the push of b4 challenges one of the central pawns, and it's a capture from the center, which will actually improve white's position, as it will allow the position to be opened. So the bishop captures the pawn on e3, and there's a trade on b4, and we push open with the position. So opening this position will create a strong attack on the center, whilst giving up a pawn on this b4 square. So now bishop captures another pawn, but white has a much stronger position. So white is going to move over to create a lot of pressure on this square here. So now black, as you can see, there was a strong position for black. Now it's currently fallen down. So white's creating even more pressure on this square. So we have b5, which attacks this square of the knight. However, you might think you could move in this position to a square such as b2, which could attack this bishop. However, we're going to attack this knight. So the knight retreats, and even though theoretically we should retreat the knight, we're going to create more pressure because this pawn cannot take due to the attack on the king, the indirect attack, so it'll be a check. So this position is very strong from white, and the bishop and also the knight can attack the square, and there'll be an exchange, and it'll be a pin between the queen and the rook. So from here, black further strengthens the position, f6, and we retreat. So by attacking this bishop, the position will be unlocked, as the bishop's trapped now, as this pawn is holding the bishop in its square. So the bishop from black is currently unleashed, so it moves to d6, because this dark square bishop from black is currently in no use, so they're developing it now, defending this pressured e5 pawn. So now we exchange, so we capture, a captures on b4, and now the knight is captured, and now we play knight to c1, which pins down this piece to this queen. Now we have a castles, and we have h5 in this position, which will create a strong position and attack on this king. So hopefully you've enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video.